Don't know how it's supposed to be, but I can feel you turn me around. If love can go sideways, look back at me, and I won't let you down. I couldn't find what I was missing in the open sea. I saw so many sharks out where I'm fishing, but maybe you're the one for me. The only good thing I see is you. Good thing it's only me and you. I know you're good for me, I think I'm good for you. So let's see what tonight brings. Maybe it's a good thing too. Maybe it's a good thing too. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing too. Don't care if it's right or wrong, 'cause either way it's enough. If we know how to make mistakes, then we belong inside this wire of love. I couldn't find what I was missing in the open sea. I saw so many sharks out where I'm fishing, but maybe you're the one for me. The only good thing I see is you. Good thing it's only me and you. I know you're good for me, I think I'm good for you. So let's see what tonight brings. Maybe it's a good thing too. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing too. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. The only good thing I see is
It's a job well done, indeed. To both T.A.C.T Productions Incorporated and Nemesis Gaming, both, on a highly sought and highly fought showdown that happened upon us today, this weekend rather. So, let's see here real quick and reassess the notes of everything that was recorded and jotted down that I've been trying to genuinely document. I was amidst each interval here, I'm trying to get this on the fly because my head is really killing me after a lot of this, because it was a really emotional thing here to try and get this going and to trying to put all this together here for both of the teams. So, but let's take it from the top like we always do, you know? Starting with round one. Well, actually not even round one, before we even started in round one. Because it was a series of disconnections that had originally happened because Nemesis's host was originally supposed to start us off here. But due to a number of irregular and unfortunately unaccommodating connections or series of connections, a couple of people weren't able to fully connect into the match when they needed to. And we had to restart the match about one or two possible times before they finally decided, okay, since there isn't anybody on Nemesis's host that can respectfully host for their part right now, then it's gonna have to go to T.A.C.T's host. And since I guess I happen to have the most comfortable host of the T.A.C.T people, then it fell upon me in order to host the Capture the Flag session for the opening round session in question. Also, starting into today's activities, before the hour in which we needed to settle into doing Capture the Flag, I fell upon a shortage of T.A.C.T players for the very first time, actually, due to a number of irregular issues or concerns relevant to the clan and relevant to current events that have been happening over the past couple of months or so. and so I fell upon a very high shortage of TAC players to call upon. So whoever was here for the match, or who could honestly show up, is all that I could require or call upon in order to successfully do this clan battle. So a lot of strategies I did prepare ahead of time in case another rescheduling may happen, or something would happen that would cause a dissension from a 5 versus 5 into a 4 versus 4, or vice versa. I have a backup plan for both clan battle registered outlines in case there's a man down or an added man in. That was not the case this time around, uniquely enough. They had all 5 of their members, 4 of their members, 5 of their members, until one of them left out later on, which I will get to later on when we get there. Since we fell short one member for the whole game in question, then I went on ahead and settled upon calling in a favor from a friend of mine, TFL Resist, in order to ask if he could be a substitute player for T.A.C.T for this clan battle coming up here. And he said sure, he'd definitely like to try and hit it up and try it out, see what would happen in order to help him out. Because it was also my first time actually meeting TFL Resist in person, because I always spent most of the time talking with him on GameFAQs after TFL had disbanded. And so it was a pleasure getting a chance to meet him. And so there we had settled into, from there we had settled into setting them up in the team outlines, and since everybody here was not sure of where they would be or what roles they had to do, then I had to go upon giving them all the general Plan A assessment that I had written out, and then I have the Plan B here just in case something would happen for it being a 5 versus 5 no 4 versus 4, or if another pending lag out may transpire that may downgrade the match from a 5 versus 5 to a 4 versus 4, since J Camps did pop it in the chat that the clan battle can go on ahead as a 4 versus 4 if he cannot successfully connect into the match. And that's all well and fine. And so from here, that's where we begin. Here on Capture the Flag's opener, once the match was actually able to respectfully and successfully start in, this started us off at a 5 versus 5 gamble. Me, Grims, Hotshot, Chaos Shadow, and I can't remember who else was there at the time. My head's really out of it right now. I can't remember who else was there, but the majority of us were amidst the Skype call in order to successfully try and vocally talk and establish communications throughout the totality of the Capture the Flag session. There, it turned very quickly into a one-sided affairs, just constantly being overpowered by Nemesis's general coordinated assault. And I honestly think that it was the map pick that probably may have had the element out of our favor, because it would allow an inconsistent series of direct correlation to flag captures to happen, but it would happen systematically in their favor, because there's enough time between both sides where the players or the defenders have more than enough time in order to stall for a flag capture, or stall on defense or offense. Or once you make a flag capture or a flag return, there's not enough time in order to get all the way from one side of the field all the way to the other side of the field, judging from how big the map is. It would take an astronomical amount of time for anybody else that's not a scientist to cover that amount of ground and try and get the flag in order to prevent any type of flag captures, or to systematically return the flag without getting caught off guard, either by having the high ground on, I think, the Decepticon side that has the high ground with the 2 broken bridges, and the Autobot side that has the low ground but also has the high ground right in front of the base that you could have for good sniping angles. If I have my spawns correct, I'm not entirely sure if it's the Autobot and Decepticon side, as I had just aforementioned, or if it's the other way around, but if you play the maps long enough, you get the idea of what I'm talking about. Every attempt we made at the flag that was thought out in advance, it was thwarted honestly at every single turn that we would fight or try to confront them in order to try and get the flag. I'm trying to assess pros and cons out of the capture the flag round, but I can't think of anything positive in our favor that actually had happened during that whole thing because it was completely one-sided. Every capture that we made was seized, and it ended up going right into their favor. And there was even a point where they had just gotten our flag out of nowhere and nobody made a call out because everybody was so focused on getting a kill that nobody made a call out about, hey, the flag was being captured. They had already gotten halfway across the compound before anybody noticed. And a part of that pissed me off, but it's just emotions. I can't complain. And then, anyway, the capture the flag session ended in a 4-0 conclusion in Nemesis' favor. A thing I will say about it, though, for a good note for silver lining, was that under the general requested host, there was no lag out that had happened, so I will give credit to that there was no lag out that had happened, so the match could see a complete start to finish without there being any interruption or necessitation for a redo. Starting next was into round 2, I believe. Here it fell back into T.A.C.T host to host it at a 500 point cap maximum, and I think at this point was where Nemesis had just decided to have the T.A.C.T host all the game modes generally in order for there to be a smooth process of connectivity for everybody involved in the match, since everybody does have different NAT types, and so everybody would have to mesh well on a specific net where it would lag the least or it would not lag at all. And so we went on ahead and just rode the same one out all the way here from start to finish, since we had a good thing going, then decided to just stick it out since it would be the least amount of turbulence for both sides respectively. Here at Conquest, it was also a 5 versus 5. I went on ahead and made my switch in since something else had happened on one of my friend's side for him to want to go on ahead and head out. I had somebody else in for this game mode specifically that was able to come online, so he was able to join in and respectfully assist in T.A.C.T side. I know Half-Life also did try to contact me halfway through the match, and Half-Life was an entity that I strongly did want for either the totality of the clan battle, if not the launch into capture the flag, since he's T.A.C.T healer. But the timing was off and he was not able to make it, unfortunately, and so Grimwave had to take his position as the medic for the most part. I tried to see if I could invite him during the team deathmatch portion later, but he had already went offline by the time I had invited him, so it ended up being a total misfire, unfortunately. So I missed an opportunity on a couple of different fronts in order to try to have a good player in my stead to try to utilize into some type of combative gamble that could have given us something more. It was a window that I just couldn't do it. I couldn't act on it in time to do anything because I couldn't invite him into a match that already had a 4 versus 4 because it wouldn't be anything for him to do. And I don't want to tell him to leave and then come back and then he goes offline like he already did, and I end up missing another opportunity. So it was just a misfire altogether, and I can understand that. Going into Conquest mode, that match went back and forth and back and forth. It was actually a lot more even than it had appeared, which did ease my nerves some in trying to go into it because it was a must-win situation, so we can try to win, like wholeheartedly win. I want us to come back and seriously tie this thing up, if not win it. And T.A.C.T kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and we were able to successfully make the comeback and counter their triple cap with a subtle triple cap of our very own, and was able to systematically hold the line and make a comeback into the game mode, because they had held the lead for the totality of the session up to a point where we came close to almost catching up to them. But before we could catch up to them, unfortunately, time had ran out on us, and we ended up losing the Conquest match, unfortunately. And then, last but not least, was settling into the team deathmatch, which would be the closer for this. And since the deciding portion of the match was already done, with it being a 2-0 in Nemesis' favor, then the match's general decision was already called. Couch Potato had something in real life that he had to see to, and so the match was then downgraded to a 4 versus 4. Here, TFL Resist had something IRL that also was happening at that time, and so I did respectfully let him go in order to try and figure out what my next play was going to be. At that same time, Shadow Man had popped into our Skype call and said if the clan battle was still going, it was alright if he can try and get in and help us on it if we can. And so I told him that I am short a person still right now, so if you would like, I can try to see that you get into the match, or can give you a spot in the match. And so I did make use of Shadow Man's assistance in order to call upon a second substitute player in order to assist in the clan battle and help get this going, as would be down to a 4 versus 4. And so with Swifty going AFK at that time and Resist going AFK, then it was just me, Grimwave, and Moonwalker. And so I also decided to settle upon, since I could not get in contact with Half-Life, then I went on ahead and reached out to Shadow, so that way Shadow can get in his time as well. That way I got him, and I have Moonwalker both for kill stacking, and then me and Grims can bring up the rear. If not, I can probably try and see if I can get in some assist stacking of my very own, and see where that can go from there in order to help turn the tide in our favor. Here on Team Deathmatch, as opposed to the other two game modes, a vast amount of momentum suddenly shifted right into our favor, and right out the gate we had the lead on them, and was able to systematically hold the lead for over half of the game, which was like something totally unexpected that I didn't foresee with the momentum from what we just had in Conquest mode. Like, this was a really good feel. And it was here the intensity shifted and escalated more as the match continued and progressed, and it turned into just like a huge straight out firefight that went back and forth before they were able to hold the lead for a brief second before we challenged them and took the lead right back. And then all the way up till that last second when it was 1 kill remaining, when out of nowhere we got the kill on the medic and won the game. And it was a seriously amazing conclusion. Like, the game was so closely fought. It was a seriously closely fought game. That was honestly, I could say honestly, the highlight of the whole clan battle. And so all things considered, we are where we are at. I seriously strongly had wanted T.A.C.T to win this clan battle with everything after having waited so long for this clan battle. That way it can stand as a very good notion to have a win after all this time for all intents and purposes, and to get people out of that sluggish, lackadaisical mindset. That way they don't keep constantly getting killed, but the kills kept stacking against us rather than stacking for us until the later half of the whole clan battle. And so as much as I wanted T.A.C.T to win, this is where we are at, and so this will have to suffice. And so, Nemesis Gaming, good game altogether. J&J Camps, I know it was your first game back on the grid since moving to your new home, so I wish you guys the best of luck out there. Hope the new sitting is over there pretty good at your new house, and we'll see if we can't get in some good games working in the midnight oil. T.A.C.T, family, good work. I'm proud of you all. You guys did good out there. For as long as you were able to hold the line, you all did very good out there. And on that note, that will bring my conclusion for my synopsis on the clan battle to a close. For those of you wondering the interesting mix-up that we did here, it was brought to my attention for this particular clan battle to try and post it on Grimwave's channel in full, more so than posting it on mine. And so I was all down for it. It's a different viewership, but it's all the same viewers, all the same, from the same community, and so everybody will have a chance to see it. Or heck, even more people would have a chance to see it. That way they can get an idea in watching what T.A.C.T really does, or get an idea of the clan scene and many different things to that extent. So, enjoy the change up as it was here. This will also still be presented in the general T.A.C.T gaming playlist for everybody to enjoy. For any questions, comments, or concerns, by all means, post them in the comments section below. Y'all have a good one, and as always, till all are one.